Welcome to Leaders Legacy. I'm your host, Varsha Sarkar, and the topic of today's episode is the right brain surge in contemporary marketing. Our guest for today is Jubin Mehta, who is the Associate Director of Marketing at Capillary Technologies. Jubin started his career as a technology journalist, and he was one of the founding members of Your Story. What's interesting is during a 4 year sabbatical, Jubin led the life of a monk and he traveled across various monasteries and ashrams in India. Apart from being a B2B SaaS marketer, Jubin also has his own meditation group by the name of Aranya and he mentors startups in the marketing and communication strategies. Welcome to our show, Jubin.
Thank you so much, Varsha. Glad to be here.
Jubin, so our today's topic is very interesting because when we talk about right brain, it's associated with being emotional, intuitive, and creative. So, how do you think brands these days are using the right brain thinking into narrating their brand story?
Right. So, yeah, it's a very interesting topic. The Typically when we say marketing, it's any marketing team, and it's full of creative bunch of folks. And uh, off late, as in this is a trend that I've seen in myself as well from being a very I would associate myself as a writer to when I began my career as a journalist. But over time, I switched over to the marketing side, and you see this shift from like being a complete creative person to being a lot more analytical. And this is a trend that I think, is led by the B2B SaaS space, where there is an entire, so to say, template that has emerged in a way. And the way one looks at marketing, and I think the core process is still very creative, I think, and that will remain. But
Mhm.
what analytics does, or what the right brain kind of comes in, is that how do you uh, basically the entire measurement piece, right? As in, we're building a brand, we're doing tactics
Mhm.
to create a brand. But I think the analytics part is kind of makes a marketer much better in terms of measuring the different metrics, or versus measuring, because uh, I think till very recently, or uh, it was very difficult to put numbers to a brand or any marketing exercise. But I think that has become more and more right brain function, where the tactic itself will be creative, but how do brands use data to make those uh, campaigns more, more targeted to the audience that they're reaching to. So
Mhm.
I think the essence of the process is creative, but a lot of right brain has definitely come into the entire spectrum of marketing.
I guess we are seeing a surge of brands using storytelling methods to kind of introduce their product as well, which I guess resonates with the audience much better than just showing that we do this, we do that. But when you tell a
Yeah.
story, it becomes more clear to the audience, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think storytelling has been, I wouldn't say it's a new trend in that sense, but storytelling marketing primarily is that. And like more and more consumers we see are looking for that kind of a, you know, approach from brands, where they're not just connecting uh, with a product per se, but what's the entire narrative. Patagonia is a wonderful example that often comes of how a brand has built itself on the ethos of sustainability and delivering
Mm-hmm.
genuinely good products. But whenever anyone says, like any travel enthusiast, or you say Patagonia, like a good feeling comes across. So
Right.
that kind of messaging, and I think and it becomes very critical. And this from day one, if
Mm-hmm.
brands can start implementing or thinking about their brand as a story. I think that's what the power of storytelling. That's what makes a lasting brand.
Right. So, Jubin, you talked about analytics in your own field of work. How do you balance analytics with the need to be creative in your marketing strategies?
Right. So yeah, we follow a very we're a lean team. We are a lean team of under 20 people. That's for global marketing at Capillary, but we are very structured in terms of measurement, as in like each each division or each function, of course, would have their KRAs, and I think the initial process of when it comes to building a campaign or launching a tactic, that is a create. So how we would balance is like everyone would need that some. just a pause or a blue sky thinking where you are actually just sitting and ideas would kind of emerge. So for marketing, like that is what would be the heart of marketing. But
Right.
but now the thing is we can't look at it in a silo, like how that's a challenge for a marketer, like a growing demand
Mm-hmm.
from a marketer where this is what is expected of you, but you also need to kind of tie it with uh, data and analytics and see
Yes.
that okay, you had this idea, you implemented it, what result did it get, and can that process of measurement help you in your thinking, or can that supplement your creative thinking going forward. So I
Right.
think it's a yin and yang. It's a beautiful mixture, but where typically it earlier used to be like uh, one person or marketer would only be good at one part. Now it's more and more becoming multifaceted.
How do you think understanding your consumer psychology helps in creating better creative marketing strategies?
Okay, consumer psychology. Of course, this is could be marketing 101, because at the end of the day, whatever we are doing marketing, uh, it has to speak to the consumer. It has to speak to the audience that we are talking to. So consumer psychology, I think, in a way, for a marketer is also, I look at him or her like a how do you say, a researcher or a scientist who's just
Yes.
observing things, and I think applies for all domains. But where how do you humans behave? Who's your if you're a B2B player, B2B marketer, then you go to conferences and just see people, what are buying behaviors like, what are team structures like, who's making the decisions, so
Mm-hmm.
and how are these people thinking. If you're a B2C brand, you go and stand at an airport and see how people are this is behaving. So I think understanding the consumer or a person very very closely uh, plays a big role in how good you are as a marketer, because your
Mm-hmm.
input is what will define your output. So if your input is rich, if you're reading a lot, if you're taking um, varied kind of inputs from people of different stratas, be it cultural, be it religious, be it all forms. You're talking to more people, that forms your worldview, which will be larger. And
Mm-hmm.
I think understanding that, um, and being open to all forms of ideas helps you become like a much more holistic and a better marketer. So yes, understanding consumer psychology is a very key essence, key part of becoming a good marketer.
So, Jubin, creativity is very hard to assess. So, would you recommend using any specific metrics to gauge right brain centric strategies?
Yeah, um, it is, and I think there is to get those ideas. I don't think numbers can use, because that is where it's a very human process. It's a very
Yes.
creative process. So it's always, I would say, uh, it brings us back to the earlier question. But
Mhm.
uh, can you put maybe, like, mechanisms that you have you spend an X amount of hours every day or 1 week a day where you are not engaged in a lot of tactical things, where you are thinking
Mm.
broad and your horizons are larger. So I think the entire marketing world moving towards right brain kind of a strategy would be like, I would look at right brain as an assistant to the left brain, because marketing, like
Yeah.
Nike, like just like just beautiful campaigns, they're all very hard driven, and I think that
Yeah.
would stay. As in the numbers can, as in AI would also maybe give you some ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and these are, I use actually ChatGPT, like our team also uses extensively to just if you're building a campaign, it throws up great ideas,
Right.
and those are in a way you're using technology to become better at your so if you're writing a script, give an
Mm-hmm.
AI assistant the first shot, uh, but the initial spark for the prompt as well, the idea will come from your left brain. So I think right brain and left brain are kind of working together much more closely now,
Yes.
and we can't look at it as two different parts.
Right. So, what resources or exercises would you recommend for new marketers to nurture that creative side of their brain?
Yeah, I think pause. There is so much stimulation in the world, right? As we are constantly on screens, constantly taking in inputs in all forms, constantly reacting. So this is where my meditation background also comes in a little. But if you're clear-headed, and then that's where ideas kind of blossom, and that's where uh, you know can think creatively. So I would suggest any kind of activity. This can be if someone is into art and painting, if someone is into running, do that. If you're into meditation, devoting some time for such activities which can help you to a clear state of mind, because that is where most of the magic happens, and the great ideas, that's where they emerge. So I think very important to invest in yourself and give
Mhm.
yourself that time.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much, Jubin, for these insights. I guess the main takeaway from this is to be creative, you have to think outside the box. Literally, like you go out, you find inspiration, you need to take break from your work because I believe in taking multiple breaks through the day because that's when the thought process, my mind actually opens up, and probably that's how, because even I come from a writing background, and that's when I got most of my ideas from, during the mornings or the evening stroll.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. We're all like now back to the office, so it's always good to kind of go outside, look at the sky, and let the ideas come in.
Yeah. Thank you so much again, Jubin. This concludes our
Yes,
today's episode. If you have liked it, then please do subscribe to our channel. Until next time.